Coming up this week on the Nintendo Directors Podcast, we hash out our top 5 Mario Kart tracks of all time. Nintendo hits us with an amazing Super Smash Bros. Direct with so many details to go over, our soundtrack review of Shadow of the Colossus, and so much more.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Brad.
We're two middle school band directors.
And you're listening to
Nintendo Directors. Hello, greetings, and welcome once again to another Nintendo Directors Podcast episode. This is episode number 3028, and the date is August 9th of the year 2018. We're recording this on Wednesday, August 8th, just a few hours after that awesome Direct that happened.
Woo.
Yeah.
That was quite a Direct.
And we'll talk about that. We will wax poetically about
eloquently,
that
some
Direct.
would say.
Yes. So,
or we might just scream and say, yes!
Yes. And Sakurai looked to be in good health, so, that's good.
Although he did tweet about the bags under his eyes recently.
He's been working. He has been working. So,
that guy.
By the way, I'm Mark Lego. I'm here with my co-host Brad Beyer.
Greetings.
We wave sticks at kids for a living. We're two band directors, and this is exciting. We're episode 2 of season 2. So
we got a great show. Really great show.
Yeah. This is going to be really good. So just a reminder that we are an every other week podcast, and we post on Thursdays around 9 a.m. And that's enough talking. Let's get into the news. All right, the news. The news this week is brought to you by insert sponsor when acquired.
Right.
Oh, there. Yes, the news. Brad, take it away.
There's lots of news to talk about because, as Mark alluded to earlier, we had a fantastic Direct that was given to us by Mr. Sakurai of Super Smash Bros. Fame. And, man, I am consistently blown away by how much information they are able to give about this game. Because, first of all, here we are in early August. The game doesn't come out for another, 4 months? And 3-4 months. And so there's, I think it's almost a surefire bet that we're going to get at least one more Direct between now and then, right?
I would think so.
And yet, in this Direct, they gave out so much information, and there's just a lot of really exciting stuff in here. So, but let's start off with the big heavy hitters. We got 2 brand new characters. Who do we start out with, Mark?
Well, we started out with one that if you listen back to our E3 predictions episode, Brad called this one.
And his name is Dusty Diamond.
Dusty Diamond. Yeah, though that'd be, man, there are so many characters from that they could pull into this series. But no, Brad actually called it with Simon Belmont being welcomed into the pantheon of Smash greatness. So, man, that's cool.
That is pretty sweet. Yes. Although I think it definitely makes sense. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Considering Nintendo's huge history with the series. A lot of great stuff with that, and he's the way he's rendered and the way he's shown there is excellent, and he's got all the major weapons you'd expect. Obviously there's the main whip, and he's got his axe and his cross and holy water and his uppercut.
Yep.
It's just very, very detailed in traditional Super Smash Bros. Fashion. They've really gone above and beyond to stick true to the character itself.
The fact that his whip controls like it did in Super Castlevania for the Super Nintendo, where you can kind of like hold it out there and then dangle it around and stuff. When I saw that, I was just like, okay, yep, I'm going to be a Belmont player. Like I'm going to main with him. Well, I'm going to main with Kirby because I always do, but this will be my secondary character. So,
he's got a final smash. It's called the Grand Cross, which honestly, as I was typing that, I looked up from the screen for a second, so I didn't exactly see it, but it seemed to was it like he throws him in a coffin or something? Am I remembering that correctly?
That might have been that. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what it was. I'll confess that at that point my daughter was pulling my attention away.
Okay.
But,
fair enough. But he also comes with a stage, right? So we
Oh,
got
that looks
Dracula's
so good.
castle. Very, very atmospheric. Very cool looking. And then of course Dracula himself is going to show up.
Yep.
As what is it? He's a boss, but he's also I think he's a stage hazard probably of some kind.
That's what it seemed like. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So Simon Belmont, and just a side note, Richter Belmont is also an Echo character, not necessarily a full new character, but which games was he actually in? Do you remember?
Wasn't it Symphony of the Night? And then
that sounds right.
I think it was.
I haven't played all.
There's another one. Yeah.
In fact, now that I think about it, I haven't played the Symphony of the Night. That should happen. I have a PlayStation.
That's one that Joe Hubbard of My Geek Scene, who, if you don't know Joe Hubbard of My Geek Scene, just check out My Geek Scene. That's MI for Michigan Geek Scene. If there's anything nerdy going on in the state, he's on top of it. But he gives me a hard time for not having played Symphony of the Night yet. But yeah, I played the bejeebus out of 1 through 4. So yeah,
awesome. Well, the other character we got was a massive, amazing troll.
Yes.
We should mention this, of course. This is a Smash Direct, and produced by Sakurai, and there were several moments of his classic trolldom going on. It was fantastic, and I think the best example was at the very end of the Direct when we got a
Waluigi. Wait, no.
not so much. But we did get another trailer for King DDD, who was then thrust aside and revealing King K. Rool. Yes, that's right. You heard it correctly. King K. Rool of the Donkey Kong series is, in fact, here. People have been clamoring for this for many, many years. And looks like they finally answered the call. So, but yes, if you haven't seen the video, check it out. It's hilarious. Just the way that
awesome.
The way they picture it, and they, it's really good. so good at the way that they introduce characters. Love it.
I was a big fan of that, and I mean, because it looked like the silhouette of K. Rool, and then they pan back, and then is DDD, and it's like, wait, is this like playing off of the Tropical Freeze with the penguins, and then K. Rool, and it was like, all right. So
yeah, I just sat there and laughed, and I was like, yep, well played.
Yep.
Very good. So a couple other Echo fighters that were also announced. Crom from the Fire Emblem series is there. And I'm not sure if I couldn't figure out because I feel like they showed him in different contexts. Is he supposed to be an Echo fighter for Lucina or for Roy?
I think it was Lucina.
Was it Lucina? Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that was my.
I mean, they're all kind of similar, but Marth and Roy especially, and Lucina. Well, I guess Marth is very similar to Lucina, but Marth and Roy are very different. And because I feel like when I saw the footage, I saw him do like the jumping, spinning thing that Ike does. But maybe so maybe he's just like an all-around Fire Emblem Echo character. Who knows? Maybe he's kind of a mix of them all or something. I need to look into that more. And the other Echo fighter was Dark Samus. So
that looked so rad.
Oh man, looks fantastic.
Yep.
Excuse me. So that's from the Dark Samus model from the Prime games, obviously, and totally looks the part. Excellent. So there was a lot more information they also gave out about stages. A lot of information.
Yeah, and we can run these down. There's so much.
There's so much stuff.
Great.
Well, first of all, let's just cap it out. They have over 100 stages in this game.
103.
103 stages.
Ooh.
Plus, of course, you can do the Battlefield versions of them and the Final Destination versions of them. So technically you have over 300, which is insane. A lot of returning favorites. There's the Pokemon Stadium, which was from Melee, I think, that one, and then Garden of Hope from I think the most recent one actually. That's the Pikmin one with the big crab. I like that one a lot. Brinstar Depths from Melee as well. Summit, the Ice Climbers one. Unova Pokemon League. Let's see, Magicant, which that one I almost have very little remembrance of.
Yeah.
I don't remember which game that was. Is that a Pokemon thing?
Oh, you're catching me off guard on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll get it in a second for you. Keep going.
Okay. So the gamer one, I love the stage. I think it was from Brawl. I don't remember if they kept it for the Smash 4, but it's the WarioWare one where you're in the kid
that one,
9 volts room.
So good.
Yeah, and the mom comes in.
Yup. The scary mom.
Yeah,
that turns into like a lion or whatever. Like that was from Wii U.
Was that Smash 4? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that one. And then they showed Final Destination, which I guess they probably just haven't shown this game's version of Final Destination. So that was cool. But it led into... Go ahead.
I was going to say Magicant is Ness's home.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because now I remember seeing a couple characters up in the top. Yeah. New Donk City has made it in the game.
Yes.
Not necessarily surprising, but also kind of awesome. There was a cool mechanic in this one. It looked like, I'm kind of reading into it a little bit, but it looked like if you touched or hit, or made hits on the 3 different musicians. So there's like the trumpet player, and was it the bass player maybe, and then Pauline. It'll actually add the music in, the Jump Up Superstar music, which is a cool touch.
I almost thought it looked like one of them that when they were hit, it looked like they glowed like they would release a Super Smash star or whatever.
Smash Ball?
Yeah, sorry, yes. But maybe I'm wrong about that. But.
I don't seem to remember a Smash Ball, but I do remember when he touched Pauline after the other ones, all of a sudden her voice came on there and started singing. But then again, I have to imagine that Jump Up Superstar is absolutely going to be in the soundtrack for the game anyway, so you could probably just have it playing.
Right, and we can talk about the soundtrack more later because there's some cool things. But
I was also super pumped to see Fountain of Dreams come back. That is one of my favorite stages from earlier games. And classic N64 levels, purposely left in their 64-bit art styles. So that looks super super fun just to get that nostalgia which they're so good at. Hitting all that stuff. Let's see. Every stage is... I was using text to voice, so I don't know what I was actually trying to write there. Oh, I see. So every stage is basically available from the beginning. I think that's what I heard. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right.
So you don't have to unlock any stages; they're all just available from the beginning, which is.
And I gotta say, I like the way that they presented that the characters could be. You could see them all, or you could see the main character and then their echo character in like the corner. Of the menu. Which
little
I'm
UI
play it
things.
that way.
Think so? Yeah.
I like that.
Keep it a little cleaner. That makes sense.
Yep.
You can turn off stage hazards now, which I'm a big fan of. Because I always liked the aesthetic of like the Mega Man level earlier.
Sure.
But I never loved the big yellow man that would come and just kind of ruin your life.
Yep.
This one.
I agree. Yeah, totally.
Right. This was the coolest feature though. Stage morphs or stage transformations. So you pick 2 stages, and in the middle of your fight, it just switches back and forth.
Yep.
Between those 2 stages. That's awesome.
It's going to lead to insanity and a lot of broken controllers. So.
Right. By the way, I included the quote there. When Sakurai announced that they had 103 stages, he said, "We must be crazy." Or at least, because obviously the interpreter is saying it, maybe he didn't put the inflection in that Sakurai used.
Right.
But it was just kind of this matter of fact, like, we must be crazy. Just
yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so why don't you take the next little thing there?
Yeah. So the music.
There's a few.
So yes. So tracks organized by series instead of level now, which is so much cleaner and easier to navigate.
Agreed.
800 tracks, 28 hours of music. Wow.
Yeah, and when they announced it, there was another great troll in there.
Yes.
Where they're like ticking up the numbers. How many tracks are there in the game? And they got up to like 450 or so. Started to slow down, like it's about to stop. And then just zooms right on up to 800.
Yes. And I mean, so many like absolute classics in this. And I mean, to buy this game, just to be able to do this feature of it, to have like this many soundtracks.
Right.
worth it, like 100% worth it.
Totally.
So, yeah, you can make your own playlists, which I loved. And this is so cool. You can play the music on your Switch while the game is off and the screen is off. And so you can use it like an MP3 player. Like it's, I love that. So really, really cool. So,
I mean, it might be a little cumbersome holding your Switch in your pocket while you've got that playing, but even still, if you're just sitting there and you want to listen to something.
Right.
Yeah. Or if you're waiting for a kid to fall asleep or something.
Yes. No kidding. No kidding.
For real. So more music. And did I get this right? They're continuing to add more music. Yeah. Each week.
I didn't want to say that for sure because I didn't believe it when they said it, but I think that's what they said. So
yeah, he said that sort of just as a last little thing. Like that's a big deal if they're going to keep adding more and more music to this.
Right. Maybe that was the interpreter making a mistake because holy smokes, but
that's a lot of stuff. But
yeah.
So there's some new modes, some new rules and stuff. Let's see, rules quick save. It looks like you can finally set default rules, which is very useful. I know that plenty of people have asked for this for a long time, so that you, because most people like to play stock battles instead of time, but the default was always time battles, and so you'd always have to go in and reset it each time. So sounds like that's been fixed. Sudden death has a fun little feature on it now. It's kind of like the battle royale influence.
Yeah. Yep.
So you get like, not only is you start at 300%, but the camera is slowly zooming in more and more and more to create the urgency. Kind of that,
Total battle royale.
A little bit. Even as like the flames encroaching on the screen. It's awesome. Also, Mark, your audio just got a lot more muffled. I'm not quite sure what happened, but you may want to check your cords.
I'll still be recording cleanly into my mic.
Okay,
so
you're good.
Something, yeah.
All right, chargeable Final Smashes. This was interesting. It sounds like a totally new mode, or like a like a different play style for rules and stuff, which is cool. It makes it more like a special move. I mean, they're always special moves, but it's like something you as you fight, you get more. So more like a traditional fighting game rather than this where the Smash Balls are, kind of Super Smash Brothers thing. So that's cool. Squad Strike. Now this is an interesting concept, and I confess I missed a little bit, but the idea is, I think that you get like 5 characters or something, or 5 lives maybe, and then every life is a different character. Does that sound right?
I really like that. That to me that feels like an on-speed version of the Street Fighter 2 tournaments you would do with your friends, where you would, be like, all right, it's just me and my friend, but we're going to pick 8 characters, and like you'd have to work your way through, just a survival of the fittest almost.
Well, and you had to be competent with more than just 2 or 3 characters.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really like this. Honestly, multiplayer is probably the way I want to play it the most. So,
yeah. Now, one of my single most favorite announcements from this whole direct was the return of tourney mode for local things. I don't know why they chose to take it out of Smash 4, but I don't know. For me, I don't play a whole lot online, even for Smash, even though I love Smash, and it was sometimes just great just to, either by myself or with a couple of friends, like just make a tourney of 32 or 64 computer opponents and just play through a tournament. Like, now, granted, they could do a lot more to make, when you win, a little more exciting than just, here's a trophy and your name and it spins a little bit. But even still, I'm just super excited that is back, and just you get that option. So, and plus, if you got a lot of people over for a party or something, that's a great way to just have that. It seems like a simple feature that shouldn't have been cut in the first place, but either way.
Totally.
Let's see. Smashdown. Maybe this was an extension of what... Oh, I see. So, it's a rule set where you, over the course of multiple matches, you can never use the same character twice.
Right.
So, that's pretty cool. It forces you to use lots of different lots of different characters as well if you're
I
playing.
can't play as Kirby every time.
Right. Can't play as Kirby every time. That's great. Training mode's been updated with some mostly things for people who are perfectionists or for people who want to see the changes in, like when there's patch notes or something. Hey, he went this far this time. Hey, he did this much damage. Those kind of things. And classic mode is back. Yeah, go ahead. Take the next little section.
Yeah.
There.
So the new items. There's a banana gun.
That was the video of this was great.
It was fantastic. So yeah, I like that one. I don't remember the next couple ones. The Killing Edge, Bummer, Death Save.
Let's see.
Yeah, I do remember the Death Save.
What did I write with that? I was just copying frantically notes now, so I wasn't actually watching what was going on screen. I saw the words and
yeah. Then there's
that.
staff.
No. This is probably another autocorrect fail, another Siri fail.
Okay.
I was taking notes audibly as I went along, and I totally ramblin' Ebro mushroom.
Let's go with it. You know what? We're calling it. That's a Nintendo Director's exclusive. The Ramblin' Ebro mushroom. So
and the death safe. What on earth is a death safe?
Yeah, I that sounds familiar, but I don't know why. So, oh no, that's because I was watching. Never mind. I was watching an interview with a guy. Never mind.
Okay.
Death Saves is a brand of clothing for Dungeons and Dragons.
Gotcha.
Which, okay, whatever. The Rage Blaster, yeah. And then so new Pokemon.
Lots of them.
Lots of them, and we're not going to list them all, but lots of Pokemon. And then the assist trophies. You got Zero, which that one looked just fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
You get Nux, you got Knuckles, you got Crystal.
From Star Fox Adventures. May it rest in peace.
Yes. Oh, no, may it just never be brought up again. Star Fox Adventures.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Never mind. Moving on. We also had Captain, Chief Kawasaki,
okay, wait.
Gray Fox.
Captain is great. I love Animal Crossing. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
I don't even know what he does, but I love Captain. So that's great.
Shovel Knight.
Yes.
Sorry, I missed Nikki. Yeah, Shovel Knight. That's going to be a really good one. So
that's so awesome that they got it in. Which, I mean, I guess Shovel Knight was in Yooka-Laylee, and wasn't there one more game that Shovel Knight was in? Was it in one of the other fighting games that came out, or maybe that was Binding of Isaac? Or that was Isaac.
Okay.
I think Brawl Out maybe. Does that sound right?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Anyway, it's sweet that Shovel Knight is an assist trophy here. Awesome.
Yeah, and Alucard. Wasn't Alucard an assist as well?
Yep. That was actually up earlier. We didn't mention that's right.
Oh, okay.
And the Majora's Mask Moon. That's so cool.
Yes, it is.
I'm pumped about that.
And why don't you take finish this one out? But I loved this next part.
Yeah. So Rathalos from Monster Hunter is a boss and an assist trophy. So
that's so cool. First time ever.
Yeah, Monster Hunter comes into Smash. Like, man, there's hardly any like. They're just blowing the doors off of this here. They'll just take anything at this point. Although I guess technically everything is so far still Japanese-based games that it's based on, right?
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of speculation about will Nintendo ever branch out into Western third parties, or is it all going to kind of stay Japanese for the moment? Or
yeah, maybe that'll be the next Smash, but let's not speculate on that.
But this is the ultimate, man.
Yeah, but yeah. This is the first time that there's been a boss. An in-game boss that also is an assist trophy,
right?
And that's
they made a point about that.
It looks so cool, yeah. But like when they said it, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that has never happened. So,
yeah, that's true.
So that looks really cool.
They showed a little bit of the main menu. There was a hidden kind of section there that kind of graded out, and they didn't want to reveal what that was. But it looks like there's a lot of great content there. Man, I am. After today, I was already excited about this, but I am so pumped about this, and I have to issue an apology. Like I knew it was called a fully new game, but I just didn't really believe it. I figured it was more like a compilation, kind of, maybe new engine. There's definitely already been confirmed plenty of new tweaks to the characters and stuff. But man,
right,
the amount of new stuff they're putting in, and this is what they've told us in August. Still several months out from the release, and I think they're going to give plenty more. there's just so much to this game, and so Sakurai, we thank you, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
You can sleep when you're dead.
Yep. I mean, no kidding. Coffee. You can sleep when you're dead. So, I will say there was one slight disappointment for me on this Direct, and that was I knew it was called a Smash Direct. I knew that's what it was. I was hoping for like at least a couple other things because I felt like E3 was a lot of Smash, and I just wanted like one or two other like, hey, by the way, don't forget this is coming out in a month. This is coming out in another month. Like games that we don't know about yet, but
well, they did say it was a Smash Direct specifically.
Right. So, yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. But that was like I was just hoping like, are we gonna get it? No. Okay. Well, everything else was great, so that's fine.
Hey,
so
we got K. Rool, man. We got K. Rool.
Yep. So
don't ask for anything ever again.
Yes. Waluigi, never gonna happen.
Yeah. Right.
So but anyways, in keeping with our season 2 show format, that was our main story, and man, was that a main story! That's so much. And anytime there is a Direct, you can expect that our news will center greatly on the Direct.
Sure.
But there are a couple other news items that we're going to kind of go through pretty quickly here, but they're exciting. And this first one here is I'm excited about the new Labo set.
Yeah.
And we had just talked about like, do you think that there'll be more Labo in our last episode? And then like a couple days later, bam, more Labo. And this is going to be Toy-Con 3, which is vehicles, and you get you're going to make a steering wheel with a gas pedal and flight stick. It looks so fun. It really looks fun, and
it looks fun to build. I don't know about the games so much. I mean, I think the novelty would wear off pretty quick. The games,
I agree. I think it'll be more fun having kids play it. So, so I'm excited to do that one. That still working through Toy-Con 1. Eventually, I think I'll get the robot one as well. But I think I might do this car one before the robot even. So, anyways, that's exciting. More Labo. That's great. That's a vehicle to move more. Switch. Yes, you like what I did there. So.
Hey, so what we need to do with our powers of prediction have been pretty good for this episode. So hey, Mark, do you think Metroid Prime's going to come out next month?
Oh man, next month. Yes, actually, it's going to be tomorrow. Able to download tomorrow. I'm hoping. All right, we've been good, so maybe that'll happen. All right, fingers crossed on that one. But next, we got some worldwide sales, and this was as of June 30th. And these are some huge numbers, and it's so great. But for Super Mario Odyssey has sold 11.17 million. That's a lot of Odyssey. That's a lot. Yeah.
And go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm still amazed at that. I guess not amazed, because I guess Mario is a little bit more broad appeal than Zelda.
Breath of the Wild.
I feel like Breath of the Wild didn't really move too much, but I guess it's been relatively steady. It's 9.32 million. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still in the middle there, in second place. But again, all of those are, around 10 million, so that's awesome.
That is awesome. Splatoon 2, it's 6.76 million. That's great. 1-2 Switch. I'm really surprised by that. That's moved to almost 2.5 million copies. To me, that's a must buy if it ever goes to $20. But I won't pay as much as they're asking for it. But maybe there's more to it than I'm just missing out. But ARMS, which is great, it's hit 2 million. That's fantastic,
which is double what it was the last time we talked about it. Was it maybe 4 or 5 months ago?
It was just over. Yeah, it was just over 1 million. So that's great because that's a fun game. I own it. I really like it. I haven't played it much lately, but that's a really good new IP. So. Kirby Star Allies, 1.89 million. That's kind of surprising, but great. That's really good.
Man, those Kirby's, we kind of dismiss them a little bit, but man, the fact that they keep making them for a reason, I guess.
Obviously,
they do well.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, 1.4 million. Mario Tennis Ace is already at 1.38, which is cool. Labo has moved 1.39 million. That's a lot of cardboard, people. Wow. So.
Back to Donkey Kong, I'd be really interested. I wonder, and it's probably easily findable, but I wonder what the numbers of Tropical Freeze are for Wii U and how they compare to how many sold there versus the Switch.
Yeah,
too bad there's nobody to know.
Yeah. The world will never know. And then hardware sales, the Switch, it's closing in on 20 million, which is so cool. So software total for the Switch is 86.9 million. 3DS hardware, they're at 72.89 million. Software for that is 367 million. It's a lot. And then the Wii U hardware is holding steady at 13.56 million, and software, which is pretty good. This is 102 million. That's a pretty good attach rate for, that's almost averaging 10 games per owner. Yeah, that's good. So,
I mean, it's not exactly busting records or anything, but
right. But getting into the next news item, this is one that I am super excited about, and I'll talk about it more later in the what we've been playing section. But Octopath exceeds expectations. More games like it coming, which is so cool. So Square Enix, they said to expect more games like Octopath Traveler. This is via IGN, and that just makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. It was just announced that they hit 1 million in sales for that. That's been out for less than a month, or no, just over a month.
It's the 13th, right? July 13th, or no, July 11th.
So less than a month.
Yeah.
It's already hit 1 million, and
that's awesome.
Oh man, that's so cool. So
I like
go ahead.
I like the quote near the end here. It says from the story, the publisher did say, however, that it believes the Switch is a good platform for, quote, middle range games. In other words, high quality, but like not really indie necessarily, but also not like massive gargantuan Zelda, Mario, those kind of things. And it's a good place for games like that, assuming they have a nice, a solid foundation, and obviously in Octopath, it's got a niche. It's got that RPG thing going for it, the JRPG, and the beautiful art style. So I think it hit at the right time and the right aesthetic and all that.
Yeah. I think everything about that was right for this moment. So, I love that game, and so that's cool that it's doing so well. It says, as for whether future Octopath likes will be Switch exclusive as Octopath Traveler is, Square Enix gave a non-committal answer. So whatever, that's fine. As long as they come to the Switch, then that's fine.
And it's not related to just Octopath Traveler type games. They say of that ilk or of that kind, so that leaves the door open for other series or other, other types of games as well, not necessarily just RPGs, but just having that kind of 2D 2.5D art style, and so that's great. I mean, it's great that people are loving that, and obviously you like it as well.
Yes, I like it a lot. All right, so that's the news.
Great news.
Yeah, lots of news, and I don't remember I know I have other bumper music, but do I have a bumper for the lists yet?
Yeah, you did something.
Great. All right, episode. We're coming back with our top 5 Mario Kart courses. I'll find that bumper after in post. So, all right, back in a minute. All right, our top 5 Mario Kart courses, and there's of all time, yes, and there are so many courses to choose from. So if you were to ask me to make this list again tomorrow, it would almost certainly look different, but that's okay. There are some that are definitely main, like they're going to stay here for me. But let's do our honorable mentions first.
Okay. So yeah, there's like Mark was saying, there's so many courses to think of, and then there's like the remixes of the old courses in the newer games, and so just trying to work through a lot of those stuff. Basically, we left everything up for fair game. Doesn't matter necessarily whether it's old or new, or as long as it's in a Mario Kart game, that's cool. So yeah, for I had 2 honorable mentions. The first one was Twisted Mansion from Mario Kart 8. I just really I love the aesthetic of this thing, this level, and the style of, it's based on Luigi's Mansion essentially. But there's some really cool. Obviously, the twisted part of it is pretty neat, and I don't know what it is. Like, it's just a really it fits the theme in super well. And the twisted hallways that you go through, and then you come out into the courtyard with all of the bats and the statues that are coming after you, and it's just really exciting. It's very diverse inside the mansion, and it's pretty neat. So that's one of my honorable mentions. And another honorable mention I had is also from Mario Kart 8, the Electro Dome. It's very, very kind of psychedelic colors going on, and you got lights everywhere, and obviously, but just the long winding course curves and stuff that you got, I really enjoy that, and the multiple paths that you can take. You can, depending on which color you go along, and using the bumpers to your advantage on trying to get coins, but also going off to the side there, like those really long curves that also have the bumpers in them, is kind of a technical challenge to be able to use the bumper but also still be turning or power sliding at the same time. I just like the technical aspect of it. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it's Electrodrome.
Oh, is it Drome?
I think.
Yeah, you're probably right now that I think about it.
That is a really good course. So for my honorable mentions, and I will confess that one of my honorable mentions, I'm not going to say which one, but one of my honorable mentions would absolutely be on my top 5, but I had seen Brad's top 5 already, so I left it off because one of them is on Brad's top 5. So
that doesn't matter. Just use it.
No, I figured we could have different lists because again, my list could be different every day because I think there are like 5,000 courses to choose from. But
right.
But my honorable mentions go Rainbow Road from the Super Nintendo, just because I spent a lot of time getting good at that back in the day, and I died a lot on it. But I do have good memories of getting good at it. Peach Gardens from Mario Kart DS, that was just a really enjoyable course. I loved being like driving around in those. You'd be like down a nice corridor, and then suddenly, of like bushes, and then you'd come into a more open area, and you could do some nice snaking to get some speed boosts. So that one was good. Mount Wario from Mario Kart 8 was mind blowing when I played that the first time. I was just like, wait, there aren't laps. There's no laps. So, but that is such a good course. And then Royal Raceway from Mario Kart 64 is if you played that, why that at least gets honorable mention. Maybe for some of you it'd be on your top 5, but Royal Raceway from Mario Kart 64. All right, top 5. I'm going to do my 5 and we'll go back and forth. So my number 5 would be Ghost Valley 1 from the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This is one that I had I can only guess that I had a world record on. And when I was in college, I had mono for a month, and I played Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo a bunch, and I raced Mario Circuit 1 and Ghost Valley 1 just whenever I was awake. Otherwise, I was sleeping. But for a month straight, I just played those two courses, and I posted times that I could not find any time faster than what I had done online until about 2 to 3 months later, and I saw them both get taken out within like a week span.
Oh, wow.
But I never submitted my times, but I'm guessing it was a world record. So I loved the Ghost Valley one. And there was the first course where the feather in that game really came into effect. So yeah, Ghost Valley 1.
Awesome. Okay, so my number 5 on my list of the top 5 Mario Kart courses of all time is DK Mountain from the GameCube version, Double Dash. I love the openness of this level, particularly at the end when you're going down the mountain and you can kind of pick. There's just it's not like a narrow raceway, there's a huge openness to that part until you get to the curvy section where it is very, very tricky and very technical. But the best part of this level by far is the cannon shot.
Yeah.
And you go up this little hill, and then you come into this cannon, and the barrel, in typical DK fashion, and it just shoots you all the way to the top of the mountain. Super cool. And it was the spot where I had one of my favorite memories from playing Double Dash with my buddy ever, and that was that we were right at that spot where we were going to get shot out of the cannon. and we duped a blue shell because we got in the cannon just as the blue shell was about to take us out, and we went on to win the race. And
that's awesome. That's great. All right, my number 4 is Wario Stadium from the N64 because it was so broken. There were so many ways to just destroy that track. And what was great is if you were playing with people that knew how to do it as well, but they were failing in their attempts to do the jumps over the walls, you could just leave them in the dust. And like if you nailed the 3 jumps that you can do to make each lap like 30 seconds, like you do it once and everyone else just puts their controllers down because they're like, whatever.
Right.
It's like, yeah, that's great. So yeah, Wario Stadium on an N64.
Awesome. All right, so my number 4 is also from the N64, and it's the Rainbow Road from that.
The half-hour long race.
That's right. That's right. Unless you knew the great secret of the mushroom coming over the front there and jumping off, and so yeah, you could basically get over the fence because basically the whole level is fenced in, or the whole track is fenced in. Mm-hmm. But if you got a mushroom right at the very top of the lap, you could go shooting off the side, and you could cut off half the lap.
Yeah, you can do it without a mushroom. It's tough.
Can you?
But you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just really cool because there's very very trippy setting going on there. You got all these like stars and flowers and just very very exciting trippy background. So I don't know, and the remake of it in Mario Kart 8 was excellent as well. But the original, the janky original was pretty great too. Those chain chomps that come after you.
Oh yeah, there's some epic races done there. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, cool. My number 3 is Wild Woods from Mario Kart 8. That's a newer course, and that's the one where you're driving down tree trunks and like you're driving, like there are some shy guys in the audience as well, and you hit this like river part and it becomes kind of a waterfall, and that course is beautiful. Just the looks alone put that on my top 5, and then it's a really fun course to race as well. So I love Wild Woods for Mario Kart 8.
Awesome. Okay, so my number 3 may not seem like a huge or a very unique course, but it's Koopa Troopa Beach from the N64 as well. And it's a pretty plain course in the grand scheme of things, but what I love about this level is that, we talked about courses before that have, sort of glitchy things or things the developers didn't intend, where you can cut off some time or whatever. But later Mario Kart games, one thing that I didn't love as much is that there was seemingly not as much opportunity for legitimate sort of planned shortcuts.
Yeah,
and
it's a really good
this
one in that
was
course.
There was a really, not only was it, they have a shortcut possibility, but it is a truly separate the men's from the boys shortcut.
It's a tough one to get. It's really tough.
There's a very tall, thin ramp that you have to hit at just the right angle, and you have to have either a star or a mushroom to get up high enough to get through. But if you make it, oh man, you can crush that race.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of luck involved with getting the right item, but there's tons of skill. And again, the later games, I feel like they lost, outside of glitchiness, they lost a lot of the shortcuts that I really appreciated in those earlier games. And Koopa Troopa Beach is the one of the best implementations of that. Risk reward.
Good choice.
Because if you fail, if you miss it, you're done.
Yep. There were a lot of that in Mario Kart 64 where it's just like, go for it. Oh, I'm gonna put the controller down. So. All right, number 2 for me, it is this is one that I had to leave on my list that Brad also had on his list, and that is Donkey Kong Mountain from Mario Kart Double Dash. And that first time you hit that cannon it was a great moment. And there was one or two the one significant shortcut you could do. There was like this big curve that you could go around, but you could just like hop down to the next ledge and bypass a large. I think there was like a chain chomp over there too. And it also is home to like the best Mario Kart animated GIF out there, where that one person gets hit by, they're in first place going across the bridge, and they get hit by everything, get brought back on the course, and then somebody knocks them off the bridge again at the end, first to eighth. So, oh man, I love that. So
that is Mario Kart in a nutshell, right there.
It is. Yep. So Donkey Kong Mountain for Mario Kart Double Dash, my number 2.
Awesome. My number 2, I shouldn't love this, and I know there's a lot of people that hate this course.
Right. That's why I didn't put it on, because it's a love-hate relationship I have with it. But go ahead.
It's Baby Park. I have so many great memories of Baby Park, just because it is so chaotic, so crazy chaotic, and so hilarious, and so, like, there's so many opportunities to get back in, because even if somebody is way ahead, they may get hit by a shell from somebody who's been lapped by them.
Yep.
And all of a sudden,
multiple times.
Right, multiple times. And then they can come back and win. It's so crazy, but it is just joyful hysterics.
Yes.
And
yep.
Yeah.
Do you prefer it on GameCube, or did you prefer it on Mario Kart 8?
I mean, either. Maybe GameCube more, I guess, because the original.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, good old Baby
All right.
Park. Love it.
Well, on to number 1, and this is the point where some of you might be upset with us, because we're going to reveal our number 1s, and we're going to have left your favorite off our lists. That's okay. We're right. You're wrong. So here we go. My number 1 is one that I had actually forgotten about, kind of, until I was looking over the tracks, and I was just like, I loved this course, and it was on Mario Kart Wii, Moonview Highway, where you got a beautiful night sky that you're driving under, and you get to kind of go off in like these. It feels like a remote roadway, and then suddenly you're in a city, and you're like navigating through the streets and street lights and everything, and in the multiple paths you can just kind of snake through this city however you want. And that to me is such, I love those things. Like, what was it, Yoshi Island on Mario Kart 64, where you could choose your own path. I love those ideas where you can kind of blaze your way through it and find what you think is the fastest way through. So Moonview Highway on Mario Kart Wii is my number 1.
So I must confess, I never actually owned Mario Kart Wii. I had a Wii and those things, but I never dipped in and bought it. I think I bought almost every other one, but I never had. I never owned Mario Kart DS either, original. But yeah. So that's a course that I missed. So maybe in the next Mario Kart they'll have to bring it back as one of their remixes or.
That'd be sweet.
But that looks. Maybe I'll just have to YouTube that.
It's worth watching.
That's awesome. All right, so my number 1 is one that was mentioned earlier as well, but I just fell in love with it from the very first time I went through. It's Mount Wario, and like you said, good. Just was Mario Kart 8 the first one that had? No, I think Mario Kart 7 had 1 or 2 courses that were not laps and were just 3 sections.
I never owned. I don't own a 3DS, so I've never played Mario Kart 7.
I mean, I think that's a really novel concept, but it gives them so much more flexibility with what they can do. And so the idea of going down, starting at the very top of a mountain and going all the way down, and just lots of turns and jumps and all those but that last stretch of it, the downhill slope, it gets
chaotic.
Slopes. Oh, but you just feel so cool. And then like you get to the bottom, you cross the finish line, and then you do like the skiers thing where you turn slightly.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, there's just so much going on there. There's so much beauty to it, and a lot of chaotic turns and stuff. And I just love it. It's fantastic. Yeah. Lots of diversity in what you're seeing, and just an epic run.
Yeah. I think in the future we're going to have to do like top 5 Mario Kart courses from each game, because I just feel like I did a disservice to so many courses, but anyways, so that's our top 5 Mario Kart courses of all time. Yeah. And next up is what we've been playing. right, what we've been playing. Brad, why don't you take the lead on this?
Awesome. Well, actually, I forgot to add one on the list here, but yeah, I picked up Picross 2 this last week, because I've heard so many good things about that, and I think I briefly played long ago on the 3DS, the Pokemon Picross game, but I got really annoyed with it really quickly because it was set up like a mobile game, and it had like energy and stuff, and I just didn't want to deal with that, so I waited until I could get the full game. So Picross 2 is fantastic. It's difficult. The puzzles get really challenging. If you're not familiar with Picross, but essentially it's kind of like you're making pictures out of a big. It almost looks like a crossword, but it's not. You're so the numbers along each side of the puzzle there, it'll tell you, in this line there's a set of 2 colored blocks in a row, and then a set of 4 colored blocks in a row, and then in this line there's a set of 5 colored blocks in a row. And so you have to use logic to figure out, okay, well, if this line has this many and this one has this many, then I can only put this one here, and then I put X's there, and ultimately you create these pictures out of the puzzle. And so I go for those kind of logical thinking puzzles, and so again, sometimes it's very difficult, but it's very satisfying too, and perfect to have on the Switch in fact. What I've been doing the last week or so since I've had it is, I'll do a play session of some of the other games I'm playing, whether it's Zelda or another game, and then I finished that, I'm done. Oh, you know what? I'll just grab my Switch real quick, do one quick puzzle, and then put it back, and I'm done. So cool. It's a great bookend to my gaming sessions. So there's Picross 2. As I mentioned, I did get back into Zelda. Right. Surprise, surprise. Still working on everything that I've been working on. I did finally get through that opening section of the DLC, so I don't have to worry about carrying that, the one-hit kill thing around, and that was actually, there was a few spots in there where they're kind of annoying, but I did get better at it and made it through. So now I just can explore and do all the shrines at once as I continue on. I'm getting up towards 600 Korok seeds. I'm almost 2/3 the way, and I still haven't used the Korok mask yet. But I did discover. Let's see, was it some of the other armor sets? I got one of the Phantom armor pieces, and I got the Tingle outfit, of course.
Oh yeah,
and I got the Wind Waker outfit. So. Pretty neat. And I had a couple of cool stories. We had this segment, if long-time listeners will remember, of Tales from the Wild. And so I got a couple interesting stories. I honestly can't remember if I've used these before. This first one I may have said before, but I just thought it was interesting. I was going along and I saw this camp of enemies, and I didn't really want to deal with them, so I was just gonna run past them and kind of keep going on my way, so I didn't have to fight anyone. But I decided, hey, I'll just call my horse so I can get out quicker. And so I whistled for my horse, and all of a sudden I look up and they're all alerted. I'm like, wait, what? So they heard my whistle, and it alerted them to my presence. I was like, wow, that's crazy. I never thought about that, but hey, it makes sense, I guess. And then yeah, I was fighting one of the Yiga clan members, the big, tall samurai guys.
Yep.
And we were fighting in the middle of a storm, and I didn't realize this could happen, but lightning struck his sword, and
awesome.
It killed him.
That's awesome.
and I didn't get hurt. I didn't even have to do anything with him, which was super cool. And then finally, I was floating along with my paraglider at one point, and I happened to go underneath a waterfall. Turns out water will collapse your paraglider.
Yep.
So I fell in the water there, but so yeah, just a little more little things about how that game just continues to impress on every level, but just the detail they put in there, it's just incredible.
Definitely.
And then I've also been playing God of War on PS4, the most recent one that just came out. There's lots of fanfare around that game, so I'm checking out what all the cool. Hullabaloo is about, and it's pretty good so far.
Sure. Nice. What I've been playing, lots of Octopath. I'm
Still?
approaching, I'm approaching 30 hours in right now, and I've learned that there are chapter 3s now for the characters, and so I think that's probably where they're going to end. But it's so good. It's just so good, and I'm starting to see a little bit more of the stories. Like there are little subtle ways that they have them interweave a little bit, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it also I had to stop after I finished all the chapter 1s and discovered just how big the world is. Like not the map is big, but like just how big the amount of things you can do is. Like I made it to this new town and I was like, wow, there is so much there's like this arena in this town and there's just so much to do. And I had to set it down for a couple days. It just felt daunting for a moment there, but then I got back into it and started going and I was like, okay, yeah, it's all going to be good. It's all going to be good. So, been really enjoying that game. And for me it's going to be hard for something to beat that out for me for game of the year. So
awesome.
So I've been loving that. I've been playing more Splatoon 2. Lots of cool new weapons that have been coming out, and
are they still releasing new content for that?
Yeah, it seems like an endless stream. It's fantastic. So lots of Splatoon 2. My daughters are both playing it, and they're not good, but it's fun. My 6-year-old is okay. My 3-year-old just. Because the way
just
that
like shoot into the air.
Yes, because the controller is always like they use the gyroscope to do the up and down, so she's basically staring at the sky half the time. And I'm like, man, people that are playing with her must be so upset that that person's on their team, but that's okay. So those are the video games I've been playing. I also went to Gen Con this last weekend, which is the board game convention in Indianapolis. About 70,000 gamers showing up and playing board games, and had a great time doing that. Picked up some fun games for the kids. I love tabletop gaming, and there's a few like Mario games there that are just terrible. So, but other than that, so that's what I've been playing. Next up, we have a soundtrack retrospective that Brad has recorded, and really excited to hear that from Shadow of the Colossus. A great
that's
game.
Not a Nintendo game. What's going on?
It's not a Nintendo game. So we're going to cut it out of the show right now. And no. So next up is the soundtrack retrospective for Shadow of the Colossus.
Hey everyone, Brad Beyer here from Nintendo Directors, here with a soundtrack review for Shadow of the Colossus. Now, this is a game that resonates with me deeply for many reasons, but one of the things that I think is most remarkable about it is that it accomplishes what so few games can do by creating a profound sense of loneliness and solitude while still providing rich gameplay systems and completely enthralling moments of excitement and grandeur. So if you're not familiar with the game, basically the idea is that you're a lone warrior who has traveled to an ancient land where you are tasked with taking down 16 colossi in order to bring back to life a woman whom you love. The entire game is essentially 16 enormous boss fights, and as well as the travel in between them. It's a fairly somber tone for the story, but that loneliness that I mentioned really shows itself in those traveling sections. Basically, there are no enemies besides the colossi, and there's no NPCs. So you're basically traveling through this gigantic, beautiful world where there's nothing's going to attack you until you actually get to one of the colossi. And it's just a very, in fact, if somebody was looking at this game and they, if it wasn't so beautiful, they might just say it's a completely empty world. But that's really kind of the point. Never have I seen a game that can do so much with so little, and it truly makes you appreciate the mournful tone for the game. But all of that changes when you finally get to a Colossus and you engage in basically a fight to the death. And in these, you're going to experience what I feel are some of the most incredible and exhilarating combat moments in all of gaming. Now, all of this could be done well enough just by itself, but it is Shadow of the Colossus' soundtrack that really, really drives the emotional impact of all these moments, both the subtle ones and the absolutely epic ones. And so that's what, of course, I'm here to talk about today. And so I want to show you 4 excerpts from this brilliant soundtrack by a guy named Ko Otani. And these are just some of the pieces that really capture some of the most memorable moments from the game. So we're going to start off with the first tune here. This is the music for the prologue. Basically, it's the intro cutscene where your character, whose name is Wander, he's this lone warrior. He's traveling to the what's called the Ancient Land, and so I'm going to start it off here. So he's riding on his horse. Horse's name is Argo, and just the very first scene, you kind of come over this just gargantuan bridge that is over a kind of a desert landscape, and there's this huge shrine in the background, which is where you're heading to. And really, right from the get-go, it just shows you the sense of scale that this game is going for, which is just mind-blowing. Obviously, it's a game about Colossus, so it's going to have that. But at the same time, you can already tell this music really is setting the kind of somber, mournful tone of what's going on. He's without really having to expound a whole lot, even just the whole story of him trying to resurrect this young woman who obviously he's in love with. That's a very a tough thing to deal with, and so he doesn't even really have to say anything, and he's just kind of slowly walking, riding on his horse to this shrine, and this is his last desperate attempt. And this music really shows that. You got the voices in the background there. You got the very minor tonality, the overarching rise and fall of the melody you can hear there in the voices. Sorry, I should not sing. But it's just really sets the tone for what's going on. It kind of foreshadows the even more like the foreboding of what's to come later on in the game. It's got some emotional turns in it. It's very reflective, and yet there's these moments where it really starts to have just these little glimmers of hope. All he's doing, the Wanderer is coming into this land just on that sliver of hope that he's trying right here. Yeah, he's with the idea that he can maybe, possibly save this woman that he loves by completing whatever task he has to do. And here's a great example of that hopeful moment. And you have to remember it, while this is going on, like I said, you're traveling this world, going through all these beautiful landscapes, and if there's, like I said, that loneliness that this creates, and yet the beauty of this world, it's very, very evident in this tune. So that's a little bit of the prologue. Let's move on here. Now, everything else that you're going to hear in this soundtrack review is very different than that. There are a lot of very interesting, quiet, soft, simple melodies and music throughout this. Even though generally it's pretty minimalist. There's not a ton. Kind of like the way that Breath of the Wild has done it more recently. Just little snippets of music here and there. That are very, very subtle, just kind of help you feel a part of this world. But everything else, like I said, is going to be quite different, because all 3 of these remaining pieces that I want to play for you are battle tunes. In other words, they're all different tracks that play while you are fighting a Colossus. And then, as I said, the change from the very serene, very reflective moments of traveling through this world to get to these colossi, and then all of a sudden everything takes a turn, and these are great examples of that. So the first one is called A Violent Encounter, Battle with the Colossus, and this plays during I'll just let it start here. This plays from the beginning of one of my favorite fights in the game. It's I don't know if it's, some people would call it a turtle, some people would call it a beetle. It's on all fours, and you have to go around and it's a very cool fight because you get to run around on your horse and the Colossus is like shooting these bolts of electricity at you, but you have to get it underneath these huge geysers of water that are going up there, and you have to get him to turn him on his side, and then you have to get up on top of him. But obviously, this is a very much different tone than the last piece. You notice that moment there where you had the dee-dum, dee-dum. Those are just moments of tension, and the punctuated brass and the percussion setting this mood. There's these rising melody moments, and then like back to these fast strings. Yeah. French horns coming in strongly there. And yeah, just incredibly exhilarating, and really makes you feel the tenseness of this. And really, again, because it is so different from what you've heard before when you're not fighting a Colossus, it makes it all the more impactful. And we're coming to the end of the track here. And those like elephant call moments there. But man, just a crazy and an excellent movement there. Okay, let's go on to another one. This one is oddly titled, but it's also another big battle fight. And if I can find it here, this is called A Despair-Filled Farewell. Yeah, there it is. Now, what I love about this specific piece is that it is paired with a fight. It's the first time you hear this is when it's paired with a fight with a Colossus that is an enormous bird. And this is for me, this is one of the best fights in the game because you get to, obviously you eventually get up on top of this bird, and the bird obviously doesn't like you being there, so he's flapping his wings and flying all around, and so you're desperately holding on and trying to make your way along the body and the wings of this huge creature to find the vitals points, the weak points where you can stab your sword in. So you're again, you can feel the tension in this. You're again desperately holding on, trying to stay upright, and that really is the fullness of what all of these fights are kind of like. But this one in particular, it's hard to express this without seeing what's on screen when you're doing this. Just flying by at incredible speed, and just makes you truly feel really powerful and really epic. Love that contrasting higher notes and lower notes as they kind of come in together there. Ko Otani, he writes very well using multiple melody lines at once, or at least melody and counter melody. But he writes really well for French horns, so you can hear here. And those percussive beats in the background, very effective. All right, we're gonna move on here. All right, I have one more piece for you, and this is by far my favorite track from the game. Again, another Colossus battle, but this one is unique in that it always is sort of the second half of a Colossus fight. So usually what you have is sort of the puzzle section of the piece where you got to figure out how to get up onto the beast, and then there's the second part of it where you actually have to strike your sword into the vital spots, and the blood flies out, and you're trying to stay on, and the Colossus is trying to throw you off. Well, this is that part, and so revive power happens in several of the Colossi. I keep saying that, I keep messing it up. Sorry. In particular, that beetle I was talking about earlier, that turtle, and also one that sort of looks like a giant horse. So let's get into this. I used the word epic earlier. That is not appropriate because this is truly the epic. Now again, you have to imagine yourself on maybe the top of a head, or like I said, on the bird on the wing there, and you're trying to get a good grip so that you on the fur of the animal so that you can stab your sword in at full power. And of course the beast doesn't like that, so he's thrashing around and trying to knock you off, or usually just kind of moving his body around very, very quickly, and you're desperately trying to hold on. But man, it's such an effective use here of those upperwards and strings, and those horn riffs, and then sort of an interlude section here where we kind of build it up again, and then a new melody will take over in the upper voices, strings. Trumpet comes in. Again, that constant percussion groove in the back there that really keeps everything driving and makes you feel just so on top of the world. This is the triumphant moment. This is the epic trumpet. But you also notice that this is in a major key. That's also unusual for basically everything in this soundtrack, but especially the Colossus battles. But again, it's the triumphant that makes you feel absolutely amazing, because you're finally taking this thing down that you've worked so hard, so long to get to, and now you've worked so hard to get on top of, and to start taking their health down. It is truly, truly epic. All right, so again, obviously I'm a pretty big fan of this. Whenever I hear this music, any of it really, I get intense nostalgia for the game, and I'm so glad that it was not only released again on PS3, but it also just recently came out on PS4, totally remastered and redone, and the graphics just look astounding now. And so I've been able to replay it again recently, and that was part of the reason that I really wanted to do this review. So obviously I'm again quite positive on this. If you have never played Shadow of the Colossus, my friends, this is an absolute must-play. It has been cited many times as the perfect example of video games as art, and again, just in terms of soundtrack and the way the music and the atmosphere impacts you emotionally, you cannot get much better than Shadow of the Colossus. So, again, this is Brad Beyer from the Nintendo Directors with soundtrack review for Shadow of the Colossus. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you all next time.
All right. Well,
Thank you very much.
we're here to do the show wrap up.
Hey.
Take it away.
Okay, great. All right, let's wrap it up here. So, once again, we want to thank you so much for listening. This has been a great show. We've had a lot of cool segments, and Nintendo should release more directs just so for every episode. Then we can make every episode this fantastic. So yeah, we want to thank you so much for listening. You could help us out a lot if you go on to iTunes and give us a review, preferably 10 stars or 13 or 5.
All of them.
All the stars.
Yes.
You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, all the podcasting places, or at least most of them. You can find us on Twitter at @N_directors, and you can write in and be part of the show at Nintendo Directors Podcast at gmail.com. And in fact, still waiting for that person who has a burning question that they want to write in on to send us those questions. So yeah, we are a twice a week or every other week show. So our next show should be on August 23rd, I believe. I wrote that correctly. Yes, it should be on August 23rd, and by that point, I will most certainly be in service. I start school on the 27th. So do you start after Labor Day? Same? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, marching band camp was last week, and for me anyway, and things are in motion. But
yes, they are.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thanks everyone so much for listening. We will see you next time.
Goodbye.